All right, so I'll start by going into the tender document straight through. We will not talk about the registration process. I think the user guide for bidders will be enough or will be detailed enough to give you. So this is our ITB, the current ITB, where we are looking at procurement of hand sanitizers and other related disinfectants. Right, so the most critical part I would want to start with is the letter of invitation. You find out our bid document is voluminous. It's got a lot of, almost about 44 pages. And some of these detailed, you find out when you are familiar with the UNDP procurement processes, some of these details, you'll be already aware of them. But one thing I wanted to point out is this section of the invitation letter, that if you are interested in submitting your bid response for this ITB, please prepare it in accordance with the requirement and procedures set in this ITB. In most cases, we have problems with bidders submitting insufficient documents or incomplete documents, which sometimes leads to disqualification, especially when we look at mandatory documents. So we always emphasize that as bidders, you should read through these documents, look at all the key or mandatory documents that are required as part of the bidding process, and ensure that these critical documents are also submitted as part of your bid. Because failure to submit some of these bids will lead to rejection of your bid. And it shall remain your responsibility to ensure that your quotation is submitted on or before the deadline as indicated on the e-tendering system. You find out in most cases we have bidders who always want to do things on a last minute. So with this system that we are using, it will not allow any delayed submission. So once the cutoff time is reached, the system automatically shuts down. So you will not be able to submit your bid via our system. So please make sure that you don't leave it until the last minute to submit your bid. And also note that all the bids must be submitted in the online e-tendering system. We don't accept envelopes. We no longer accept hard copy submissions. As UNDP, we are trying to move to a digital platform as a way of promoting transparency, integrity, and fairness in our procurement systems. So you see that we are moving away from the manual bid submission, and we are using this e-tendering system. And just for your own information, to tell you that once you upload your bid, even if you upload your bid today, no one will be able to access your bid even at UNDP until the bid's closed. So you find out when we use this e-tendering system, your bids are safe. No one will be able to tamper with your bids. And you'll find out no one will be able to tamper with your bids, and everything will be tamper-proof until the day when the bids closes. Maybe I'll just take a pause. I've seen two hands raised up. Do we have any question? Somebody by the name Hangzhou, I can see your hand is up. Do you have any question?
No. Sorry. I raised the hand before.
Okay, that's fine. Then Richard, do you have any question? I can see your hand is up. Okay, I think it was just a mistake. So we'll proceed. So we are saying all bid submission will be done on our e-tendering platform. It is your duty as the bidder to make sure that you plan your bid submission and also make sure that all the preparatory stages are done earlier rather than left to the last minute. If you have not registered on our e-tendering system before, this is how you can do it. These are the details. You use the username event.guest, then the password is Y to change. Then you follow the registration process as specified in the system's user guide. If you look at our e-tendering, at our UNDP procurement notices, the bidder guide, the guide for e-tendering bidder guide for bidders is also attached as a supplementary document. So we always encourage you to go through that document and understand how you can log onto the system, how you can register onto the system, and also how you can participate in the bidding process. If you have already registered before, sign in using your username and password. If you have forgotten the password, then use the forgotten password button. Please do not re-register. If you had already registered before, don't register a new account, but just use the forgotten password link. Then you have your password reset. Please note our system is mainly supported from New York. So whenever you have challenges, please send us an email. Then we can also follow up with the New York support team or the help desk as soon as possible. Then whenever you have your password, make sure that it has 8 characters, at least 1 in capital letter, and also contains 1 number. And for other detailed user guides, videos on how to use the system, you can then follow this link on our bidders document. It also guides you on how best you can register on the system or how best you can make use of our system. In terms of instruction to bidders, I'll not waste much time going through these instructions one by one, but what I'll encourage you is, as bidders, take time to familiarize with these instructions. These are critical, especially if you want to participate in UNDP procurement processes. These instructions are critical and will also be able to give you the best advantage in terms of using our systems. So I'll not talk much about these unless if somebody has got a question on any one of the areas, then I'll be able to address it under questions. Okay, so I'll go to section 3, where it talks about the bid data sheet. Generally, this bid data sheet just give an overview of what we expect or what is expected from the bidders in participating in this procurement process. So when we look at our bid data sheet, you see that the language we expect bidders to use is English. So please make sure that all the documents that you provide as supporting documents for this tender are all in English. Then we will not allow any alternative bids. When we talk of alternative bids, it's like when we provide that this is the product that we want, an alternative bid is more like an alternative to our requirement. So in this case, our requirements are specific and we are not looking for any alternative requirements. In terms of the pre-bid conference, this is the pre-bid conference that we are having now. Then in terms of bid validity, please make sure that the minimum validity of your offers is 90 days. As UNDP will not be bound to accept any offers with bid validity less than 90 days. When we talk of bid validity, I think you understand as bidders that sometimes you put your your bid validity is 7 days, sometimes it's 5 days, 48 hours. But whenever you are providing your offers to UNDP, make sure that a minimum of 90 days. We expect no price changes within the following 90 days once you have given us your price offer. Bid security in this case is not required. So don't worry about bid security. I've seen some people or some bidders asking about bid security, but when you go through the document, we do not want bid security because we are also trying to promote our local suppliers. We also understand the current environment that we are operating in. That's why we don't require bid security for this ITB. In terms of advance payment, upon signing of contract as UNDP, we do not pay in advance. We only pay after you have delivered. So please take note, we will not entertain any request for advance payment. Then we can also impose liquidated damages, which is 0.5% maximum, up to about 30 days, after which UNDP may terminate the contract. Normally, liquidated damages, we apply this when a supplier fails to deliver within the agreed time frame. Remember, when you give us your offer, you also indicate your earliest possible time. Then we also look at a reasonable time frame for delivery. Then we combine the two. Sometimes we can say you have to deliver within 30 days. Maybe you have indicated that you can deliver this within 7 days. So for us, we can then say, okay, from 7 days up to at least 30 days maximum. Then if you fail to deliver within that agreed period, that's when we can now talk of liquidated damages. Then after that, we can talk of contract cancellation when you fail to deliver. In terms of performance security, this is normally required for all the contracts above 500,000. So possibly if you are a successful bidder in this tender and your bid is over 500,000 US dollars, then we may require 10% of the total contract value as performance security. This will be discussed in the format highlighted in the document. In terms of the currency for this bid, it's strictly United States dollars. So don't provide your quote in ZW or in RTGS or in any other currency. But we expect United States dollars, and as UNDP will also pay you in United States dollars. So you need also to have your Nostro, FCA Nostro account. Then if you go through the ITB and you have any questions, any request for clarifications, we encourage you to do this 3 days before the submission deadline indicated on e-tendering. In this case, our submission deadline is the 18th of June. So we expect all requests for clarifications to have been done by the 15th, so that we have to upload them on the e-tendering system. Because what we do is that whenever you request for clarification, we'll answer you directly, but at the same time, we'll also consolidate all the questions and answers, and we'll upload them on our system for the sake of other bidders. Then for any request for clarifications, I've put the emails here. These are the contact details that you can use. Then the manner for disseminating supplementary information, we use direct communication to prospective proposers by email and posting on e-tendering platform and UNDP procurement notices website. So it is your duty as the bidder also to make sure that you check on the two platforms in case there are any updates, especially by the 15th of June, 3 days before the closing date. You are supposed to check on the system and see if there's been any updates. The deadline for submission is indicated on the e-tendering system. The reason why we no longer put closing dates on the ITB document is that the ITB document, we want to leave it as a live document which can easily be modified. So this is the reason why the time, we stick to the time on the system where you are going to be submitting. And allowable manner of bid submission is e-tendering. So there's no other alternative methods of submission when it comes to this tender. And these are the bid submission addresses. This is the website on our e-tendering platform. Then when you log on, because there are a lot of tenders from other countries, the UNDP global, at global level, so you can then use ZWE10 as the business unit, and this will be your ID for the event. This will be your event ID, 6175. But don't forget to put the 6 zeros before the number. In terms of all files should be in PDF format. Normally we receive various formats from bidders, some in JPEG image, but as UNDP, we do not give you guarantee that we'll be able to open your documents if they are not in PDF. So in case we fail to open your documents and they are mandatory, then you'll be disqualified because you failed to follow the instructions. So make sure that the format for your document is PDF files. Please take note. When it comes to the date and venue for bid opening, because we are using e-tendering system, we also use an online bid opening facility. So once the bid closes and we open it, it will automatically send you an email showing that the bids have been opened, and it will also give you a list of all the participants as well as their value, their gross value for the tenders. So you'll be able to see. So there's no need for public bid opening where bidders will be gathered. We are doing this online. Then our evaluation method. Please take note of this evaluation method so that you will not have any issues with your tender. We use what we call lowest priced, technically responsive, eligible, and qualified bid. What does this mean? You find out our bid evaluation is mainly in 3 categories or in 3 strategies. The first strategy is where we look at your bids, your bid submission as a whole. We look at the documents that you have submitted, especially the mandatory documents. If all the mandatory documents have been submitted, then you pass what we call the preliminary evaluation. When we look at preliminary evaluation, there are various factors. Let me just check if I can open one preliminary evaluation report in one of our previous bids so that I can also share with you so that you can see what we mean when we talk of preliminary evaluation. Okay, when we talk of preliminary evaluation, this is what we look at. Are you all able to see my my spreadsheet? Maybe you can just show by raising your hands if you are seeing my spreadsheet. Okay, that's fine. Thanks. I think that's okay. So when we talk of preliminary evaluation, this is what we are looking at. For example, let me look, right. This is where it all started. It all started with, where we are looking at duly completed or returnable bid forms A, B, C, D, and E. This needs to be completed. The registration certificate. So you find out that, just a moment, the preliminary examination criteria, which is section A, we are looking at yes or no. Sometimes this yes or no does not make your bid to be disqualified. To some extent, we may request this because it doesn't change the value or the nature in terms of the prudence of your submission. So we are looking at your business registration certificate, your tax clearance, written self-declaration. Then we are also looking at your evidence of environmental sustainability. As UNDP, what we are also moving on, as we are also promoting the going green. We are also, this is the reason why we are also now moving to the e-tendering platform, so that there's limited printing and in terms of carbon footprint. So we also expect our bidders to be having or to be moving towards some sort of environmental sustainability in their practices or in their business environment. Then we are also looking at the mandatory sample. If wherever a sample is required, please submit a sample. Because when you fail to submit a sample, it means there is no way we will be able to evaluate your offer, because our offer will also be based on the sample that we have provided. Then here, when we look at the minimum eligibility and qualification criteria, this is a pass or fail. So if you fail this section, it means your bid will not proceed. If you fail this section, it means your bid will not be considered. So first, for example, we are looking at a legally registered entity. We believe in working with registered companies. So if your company is not registered, then there's no way we can do business with you. Then we're also looking at vendor not being suspended or debarred, or otherwise identified as ineligible by any UN organization, the World Bank, or other international organization in accordance to the clause 3 of the ITB. Here, what we are saying is that possibly as a vendor, you have been involved in some form of malpractices, corruption, or corrupt practices with any other UN entities, and you have been blacklisted. Once you are blacklisted with any other UN entities, because we use a central database, UN organizations, the World Bank, IMF, and other international multilateral institutions, African Development Bank, we use a central database. So whenever a vendor is blacklisted by any one of these entities, that information is updated on the website. And when we go on that website, we will find that you are blacklisted and will not be able to do business with you. There's also the aspect of conflict of interest. where we are saying bidders should be able to declare the conflict of interest and there should be no conflict of interest. You should also not have been declared bankruptcy or not involved in bankruptcy or receivership proceedings, because we believe we want to work with bidders who have capacity to deliver or to supply. So make sure that you are not blacklisted somehow. Then if you are an agent acting on behalf of a manufacturer, I understand some of suppliers are commodity brokers. You are acting on behalf, or you are an authorized distributor of a certain manufacturer. Please make sure that you provide the paperwork to authenticate that you are an authorized distributor. You know, sometimes we are tired of bidders who just claim, I'm a Microsoft distributor, without an official letter to show that you are a Microsoft distributor, or you are a distributor, authorized distributor of a certain product. So please make sure that if you are acting, you are not the manufacturer, you are acting on behalf of a manufacturer, make sure that you have all the relevant paperwork. Then you find out non-performance contracts. If you have been awarded a contract previously and failed to perform, that negatively affects your current status as a bidder. Then for court or court arbitration or award decisions, we normally don't disqualify bidders based on this, but we expect bidders to provide details so that we are aware of the litigations or, you know, court processes that will be in proceedings or that will be happening. In this ITB, it was 5 years, but the current one, we have reduced to 3 years. So you see that we also consider, once you don't have the minimum number of years in terms of experience. Take for example, if you are registered in 2020, we don't anticipate you to participate in a tender where we are saying the minimum number of years allowable is 3 years. Normally, this is done to ensure that we don't have, you know, there are tenderpreneurs these days. We are also doing this in order to limit the number of tenderpreneurs that participate in our procurement processes. We want to deal with legitimate businesses that have been in operation and that have got capacity and experience in the field that we are looking at. And that will also be backed by minimum of 3 contracts of similar value and nature. You find out in most cases, you are a bidder, you want to participate in a contract of 1 million, but you have never even supplied anything more than 50,000. If you look at that, such a scenario, will we be able to consider you as a bidder to submit 1 million worth of commodities, yet you have never in your history supplied anything over or above 50,000? So we always also want to make sure that we are dealing with bidders who are able and with capacity. So we always try to make sure that at least the bidder should have 3 minimum contracts of similar value and nature. If in terms of sanitizer, some can say, okay, COVID is new. Yes, we understand that COVID is new. But if you are a chemical manufacturer, we anticipate or we expect you to have, you know, dealt with this maybe in your past 3 years or so. So we anticipate you to have also have done at least reasonable contracts of similar value. Then we are also looking at minimum cumulative sales turnover of 50,000 for the last 3 years. This is also done to limit the number of tenderpreneurs participating in our procurement processes, because we also want to make sure that genuine suppliers are also given room and are also given the chance to participate. So when you look at these which are measured on a pass to fail basis, these are critical. And you make sure that you have to pass, because any fail under this section will mean that your bid is going to be rejected. Your bid is going to be rejected. This is where you look, when we code here P, we are proceeding to the next stage. But when you see R, it means this bidder has been rejected. So this is the preliminary evaluation, which is critical in your bid submission. And please make sure that all these required documents are also part of your bid submission. So when we look at the lowest, I was trying, I detour a bit to explain this, because I was looking at this statement where I wanted to explain the lowest price, technically responsible, eligible, and qualified bidder. So if you pass the preliminary evaluation, it means you are an eligible and qualified bid. So the next stage is now to look at your price against the other competitors. So once you pass the preliminary evaluation, it means the next level of competition that we are looking at is your price. Then in addition to your price, we also look at your delivery timeline. Because take, for example, I'm looking for 500. Sorry. One of the suppliers may quote me, say, $5 per liter, but with a delivery timeline of 30 days. Then the other one may quote me $6 a liter, but immediately available ex stock. In that case, we then consider delivery, because this is an emergency. Remember, this we are looking at these commodities as used for fighting COVID, which is a pandemic. So we also look at delivery timeline will be critical. So you find out those who have ready available stocks tend to benefit than those who will be talking about 30 days delivery period, because I don't know what will happen in the next 30 days, especially with the numbers of positive people testing positive to COVID increasing each and every day. We don't have any time to waste. We don't have any more time to waste waiting for deliveries. So if you are a manufacturer, the better, because we can consider batch deliveries to say, okay, if you are a manufacturer and can manufacture 1,000 units every day, better deliver those 1,000 every day until the consignment is delivered in full. Then those are some of the issues that we're also looking at. Because we expect to have completed this evaluation by the 22nd of January, by the 22nd of June, sorry, and we also expect to issue the PO around those dates. So you can see our timeline is tightly squeezed. So UNDP will award a contract to the lowest priced, technically responsive, eligible, and qualified bidder, and will do a purchase order. And this purchase order will be guided by our UNDP terms and conditions of doing business. Normally, when you register on our e-tendering system, you find out that you tick a box that you agree to UNDP's terms and conditions. So please take note that you have already, by registering on our system, you have already agreed that you abide or you agree with the UNDP terms and conditions of doing business. Okay, let me take a pause, and I've seen some 2 hands that are up there. BM, do you have a question? Sorry, BM, somebody by the name BM. Do you have a question? Okay. Mr. Makoshera, I can see your hand is up. Do you have a question or you want to add something?
Hello, President.
Yes.
Okay, I've got maybe 2 questions.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, the first one is on maybe to assist the bidders. You say that the bidders should have a Nostro account. Any Nostro account, Zim or outside, or specifically for Zimbabwe? No, Zim Nostro account or any Nostro account?
No, it's Zim Nostro account, because if you are registered in Zimbabwe, then you have to have an account in Zimbabwe, because we look at your country where you are registered. So if you are registered in Zimbabwe, your FCA Nostro account should be in Zimbabwe. Then
Okay.
if your company is registered in South Africa, then we expect your account is already in South Africa. So that's okay.
So that was my next question. I wanted to find out if this tender is only for Zimbabwean companies or it's open to anyone in the world, across the world.
Okay, as UNDP, we do not limit our tenders in terms of the coverage. Our tenders are open international tenders. And the participation, we have tender bidders from all over the world. But what to determine, like in this case of emergencies, is the delivery timelines, because we also understand the challenges at global level in terms of the logistical challenges of moving commodities. So you find out preference, especially for some of the commodities, depending, will be given to local suppliers in this case, but not, we're also looking at being competitive.
Okay, and maybe the next one, you spoke about the $50,000 maybe for the last 3 years.
Yes, that this is USD.
Okay,
Normally,
but
when you look when you look at the look at the ITB document, there are sections where they need to complete. Remember, in the last few years, we're mainly in the 1:1 era. We understand that financial accounts may be in 1:1 up to maybe 2019 October or so. But for 2019, financials may be in ZWO, but we also look at the conversion to the equivalent at the official rates as well. As long as the accounts are showing that you have been trading in that similar volume, then that's okay.
Okay, I think you have answered my question, because I wanted to say most of Zimbabwean companies, they trade in Zim dollars. So maybe how were you going to measure that one? So maybe it's a matter of conversions of Zimbabwean dollars into US dollars.
Yes, that's true, because if the financials are in Zimbabwean dollars, we also look at that conversion at the local USD, at the local rate.
No, thank you. Then my last one, joint venture. You spoke about joint venture or a bid. I mean, you are not a manufacturer, but you have bidded. In addition to the letter, from the manufacturer, is there any information which you need to support a broker as bidder?
Okay, there are 2 different issues here. When we talk of a distributor, what I've explained was a distributor. I think the joint venture I'll explain below. But when we look at an authorized distributor, there should be an official letter from the manufacturer to say, this company has been appointed as the official distributor of our products. Mainly is that letter, as well as the supporting documents from that company, if they are quality certificates, environmental policies. Those are the additional documents from the manufacturer as per the requirements of the ITB. But when we talk of a joint venture now, a joint venture is more of a partnership between two or more companies to participate in this tender. So you find that a joint venture will be treated separately, and we have a joint venture form that needs to be completed. I'll talk about in the next section.
No, thank you. I think you have clarified that you need a letter or a certificate from the manufacturer to support the bidder's cause. It's okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I'll continue. Other information, please provide for the quoted items a requested facilitated evaluation process. These are samples. Samples will be required as per the listed item. Okay, before I proceed, I can see there's a hand. Sakala, I can see there's a question. You have raised your hand. Please go ahead with your question. Sakala. Okay, I think we'll come back to them later. It seems that it's not. Angel Natwith, I've seen your hand is up.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
My question is about samples. So definitely companies that are out of Zimbabwe, if you can't provide samples as soon as possible by the 18th, is it an automatic disqualification for them?
Yeah, and unfortunately for this tender, we will not be able to evaluate without a sample. But let's say, for example, let me talk of some of the items that are on the bid. For example, let's look at disposable caps and maybe disposable aprons, which are not manufactured locally, but a bidder, say a bidder in Turkey, have participated in this, and on sending their documents, they've provided all the documents like product description, the quality certifications, as well as evidence that they've already shipped. Like today is the 12th. Maybe a bidder who wants to participate should make sure that their samples arrive before the closing day. But say, for example, the sample is shipped today and is expected to arrive maybe on the 18th or on the 19th. That we can give some consideration, provided that the proof have been shared earlier before the closing date, that samples have been sent. But we only consider that in exceptional cases, especially where we look at some of these products that are not manufactured locally, and we know that almost all the participants will have to import them. Then I think we'll make some consideration, but not on all products.
Okay. All right, I understand.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. We also try to be flexible, especially in terms of understanding the times that we are operating in, especially the COVID, where also the global logistics industry have also been affected. But at the same time, we also look at the urgent nature of the requirements, where we are also looking at the urgent nature vis-a-vis human life. So we try to balance.
Okay, so on this case, if I may ask, what is the maximum, what is the validity of delivery time, like the maximum from the closing date?
Oh, I don't want to give like a cast in stone timeline, but I think we'll look at the market itself.
All right.
We always want to give that to you as bidders. You are the ones in the market and you know your capacity. Sometimes we can say, okay, we want this in 14 days, but all the bidders fail to provide because maybe they are all importing. Then it won't be fair. But we'll give you a chance to compete, because remember, delivery timeline is also a factor that we'll use to compete in this process. Yes.
I understand. Okay, thank you so much.
You are welcome. Any more questions before we move on? Okay, that's fine. I'll proceed. So on the issue of samples, we are saying for those who are outside of Zimbabwe, samples should be delivered on DDP basis. What do I mean by DDP? This is delivery duty paid. As UNDP, we don't have time to go and clear your samples with the customs. It's not our responsibility. But if you are sending your samples as a bidder, make sure that you have already made all the provisions for clearing and having this delivered to UNDP Block 9. We will not go to DHL and clear your samples, because all other local bidders will deliver their samples at our offices. And we are also saying that because of the COVID-19 safety precautions, delivery of samples will be done by appointment only. What do I mean by appointment only? We have given you the email addresses. So you have to write to me the name of the company, the name of the company representative, as well as the ID number for the person who will be delivering the samples, so that I will put that on my list of expected visitors for the day and seek security clearance. And this security clearance, I'm expecting to have done it by the 16th, which is on Tuesday, the 16th, because samples will be delivered on the 18th. And please note the specific timelines between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. That's when we'll be receiving samples. Any other time outside this time will not be able to receive. Please note this is a special arrangement because of the COVID pandemic. Okay. Sakala, I can see your hand is up. Are you able to talk? Sakala? Okay, it seems if you are having any challenges, you can type in your question as well, because I'm trying to unmute you to allow you to talk from my side, but I'm not sure what is happening. it seems the version of Zoom that you are using is not allowing me to unmute you, but I think you can type in your questions, then we can address them. All right, so we'll move on. This is the evaluation criteria that we are going to use. So in terms of I've already explained this when I showed you the spreadsheet. So I will not talk much about this section, but possibly I'll just point out at the highlighted section, like the vendor should be legally registered. We have talked about the duly authorized to act on behalf of the manufacturer. Then in other products, we might also require the export or import licenses, depending with the products, but not always. Then we look also at conformity to the minimum quality standards indicated in the ITB. We'll talk about quality standards soon. We have already talked about the experience that we are looking at, minimum 3 years of relevant experience. When we talk of relevant experience, colleagues, please take note of this. I think we have seen in our newspapers when it comes to procurement issues, where you see a company, I'll talk, for example, a building contractor. Let's talk of a building contractor. I'll talk of, saying, for example, one of the common business building contractors, say Rio de Oro Construction Company or Masimba Construction. When I see Masimba Construction participating in a bid like this to supply sanitizer, it's not a problem, but sometimes it also raises issues, especially, say, for example, if that company becomes successful in bidding for that product, but it's not a manufacturer of that product, its operations are in a different sector. Or to see Croco Motors, we all know Croco Motors, it's a supplier of vehicles. But when I see Croco Motors participating in a tender of sanitizer, they don't have relevant experience. So for me, they will not qualify because they don't have the minimum relevant experience. They are not a manufacturer of any chemical, even hand washing liquid. They are not a manufacturer. So when we talk of relevant experience, please take note, this is what we'll be talking about. To say the bidder needs to be, to have some experience in the field where this tender is relating to. So I don't expect vehicle manufacturers to be participating in supply of sanitizer. I will not anticipate building contractors to be participating in a tender to supply sanitizer. And when we talk of joint ventures, we are saying where there is a joint venture, a consortium, or an association where 2 or more bidders come together, all parties cumulatively should meet the requirements, which is the minimum requirements that we have set. It means if company A and company B are going to be joined together, all of them should also meet these qualification and eligibility criteria. Let me pause a while and take a question from Anjo. Can you please go ahead?
My question is, are partial bids allowed in this in this bidding?
Okay, I think maybe you can explain what you mean by partial bid before I answer you.
I mean, if we can participate, let's say on lot 1 or lot 2, not all the lots. For example, we can supply some of the goods that are mentioned, but not everything.
Okay, thank you very much. Your question is okay. What we do, I think in our ITB, it's clearly indicated, I think below, when we go that we consider lot by lot basis. We don't expect you to supply everything, but where you know that you have key competence. For example, in this, you find out somebody might be a manufacturer of sanitizers only. So that person will only possibly bid to deliver or to supply sanitizers, but not disposable gowns or disposable caps or the hand washing stations. So it's absolutely free. It's absolutely okay for you to bid maybe for hand washing stations only. Maybe that's what you do. That's okay for us. We'll consider your bid under that line item.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. You're welcome. Okay. So I'll not talk much about this. We have already highlighted when I showed you the spreadsheet about the preliminary evaluation. Then in terms of the technical evaluation, where we also talk about the pass and fail basis. Here we are also looking at compliance and non-compliance with the technical specifications identified in the bid. We'll talk about them just a few moments. Then financial evaluation, detailed analysis of the price schedule based on the requirements. That is the Form F. Price comparison shall be based on the landed price. Please take note that price comparison should be based on the landed price, including transportation, insurance, and total cost of ownership where applicable. Then we'll also do a comparison with our budget, what we have as our internal estimate. Then in terms of additional requirements, please take note of this. Because, you know, when this pandemic, when the COVID-19 was declared a pandemic, you find out nearly everyone started manufacturing sanitizers in their backyards. And sometimes the quality is compromised. So for us to safeguard ourselves and to make sure that aspects to do with quality assurance are always observed, we are saying in Zimbabwe, we have the Standard Association of Zimbabwe. So make sure that your products, you've got a certificate from Standard Association of Zimbabwe or equivalent. If it's an import, maybe you are bringing in your products from South Africa. We also expect the South African, you know, standards board to also have confirmed that your quality is okay. If you are importing from any other country, we also need that. And as part of the requirements, you see that a certificate of analysis will also be required as part of the deliveries. Okay, and answer the question. Sakala have typed in a question where is not understanding something on the joint ventures. Okay, when we talk of joint ventures, we are saying these are two or more companies coming together, possibly to increase their capacity to be able to bid on this tender. But what we are saying is that each one of these companies coming together should have, for example, minimum requirements. They should not have non-performance of contract in the last 3 years. They should also not have consistent history of court arbitration. In terms of minimum experience, each one of these companies should have minimum of 3 years relevant experience. So when we say that all parties should meet these requirements, is that we are saying any of the companies forming a joint venture, each one of them should be able to meet these minimum requirements stated in the document. I'm not sure if I've answered your question fully. You can type in any further follow-up. If you have any further follow-up, then we can address it later. But for now, I think this is the answer to your question. Right. So this is our main schedule of requirements. Schedule 5A, this is what we are looking at. We are looking at chloride of lime. We are looking at 110 units. And these are the specifications. Because we have a lot of chloride of lime on the market. So we are saying, we are looking this in powder form, white in color, should be odorless, and this is going to be used for disinfecting hard surfaces. Sodium carbonate of at least 60% itself. And normally this is authenticated by the certificate of analysis. If you are a manufacturer, you understand that for every production that you run, you have what you call a certificate of analysis. And we need this certificate of analysis. And you find out the Standard Association of Zimbabwe. If your product is certified by the Standard Association of Zimbabwe, it should have a label in English indicating percentage by weight of the ingredients, as well as the certificate of analysis. So this is a must for your product. If you are going to be getting this from any manufacturer, please make sure you get these documents and submit them as part of your bid. Second product, we are looking at sodium hypochlorite. This is in 5 liters, and we are looking at 230 units, and these are the same. The detailed specifications, and we are saying minimum 5% nominal concentration. If you are a manufacturer in this product, I think you know more than me what this means. Then we are also saying labels should be in English, indicating percentage by weight of the ingredients. So please take note of these detailed specifications. Then when you complete this, you are also indicating your potential or your possible delivery date. Then in terms of hand sanitizers, we are looking at alcohol-based hand rub with a minimum of 70% alcohol. So make sure that your sanitizers have got 70% minimum of alcohol, because I know there are a lot of sanitizers on the market, but if yours doesn't have 70% minimum of alcohol, please don't waste your time. I just want to be frank. Don't waste your time to bring something that is not 70% and above. And this should be certified by the Standards Association of Zimbabwe or equivalent. depending where it's coming from. You also see that on my ITB, I've combined, you see that the quantity of hand sanitizer in the 100 mils, there will be one line combining these 2,400 and the 55,000. The reason why I've splitted them here is that I've combined the requirements from various requesters. So another requester just needs 2,400, another requester just needs 55,000 by 100 mils. But you see on my ITB on e-tendering, I've combined this to be, I've combined this and I've also combined these two, the sanitizers, to be 79,000. They are all the same, but it's only that different requesters. One requester needs 24,000 units, one requester needs 55,000 units, but all are the same product. So please take note, don't confuse when you see. Also, when you look at my sodium hypochlorite, one requester requires 230 units and another requester requires 112 units. But on my e-tendering, I've combined this one to 342. So you see the combination, but these are the same product. So please pay special attention to the detailed description. Bin liners will also be requiring bin liners in pack of 100, and we need 170 units, but this should be in pack of hundreds. And what we are saying is that this should be 0.94 grams, and the capacity should be able to carry about 30 gallons. And this is the size of each bin liner, should be 30 by 37 centimeters. They should be 11 micron, medium load duty. So don't send 5 micron, because what we require is 11 micron. Anything less than 11 micron will not be required. I can accept 15 micron, but not anything less than 11 micron. Then in terms of the pedal beans required, this should be metal. Please take note, don't send plastic pedal beans. This should be metal, 50 liters capacity, not 20 liters, but should be 50 liters. Then for the surgical caps, please note that for the disposable caps, the initial document that was uploaded was missing this part, the product description. But now if you go on our e-tendering notices, you see that the document have been updated and this is the requirement. Please make sure that your product will have these specifications. And the colors, we are looking at the blue and green in 50-50 in terms of quantities. Then the quality standard, this is critical and this is mandatory. We are looking at this as the quality standard. So make sure that it's CE or ISO 13485, not anything less than this, because this is a healthy product. For health-related products, we are so strict about quality. So please take note of our quality requirements. Otherwise, your sample will be disregarded. For the hand washing stations, here we have 3 products combined. So I think we'll be slightly lenient here to say, if somebody is able to provide the buckets with taps, the 20-liter bucket with taps, we'll also be able to look, these are 3 products. 20-liter bucket with taps, we'll also be able to compare. Let's say somebody is able to provide the 20-liter buckets only with taps, we'll be looking at that. Then if somebody is able to provide the stands only, we'll also look at that. Then the water containers, we'll also look at that. So all the detailed descriptions are here, where we are saying the water container is just like a plastic barrel, 10 to 12 liters, as shown in the picture. There's a picture, we have also attached the picture. This is the picture of the hand washing station. So you find out maybe somebody is only able to supply the stand. Then we will also be able to consider the stand, the bucket, and the barrel as 3 separate items. And we'll also be able to consider if one is able to supply even 3 as one product. We'll also look at that. Then the disposable aprons, these are the critical requirements, 300 grams per square meter. This is the grammage. And this is the covering area. It should also be covering this. Then should also have this height. So we are mainly looking at disposable, but we are saying reusables can also be considered, provided appropriate arrangements for decontamination are in place on our side. But what is the guiding principle? Are these requirements? To say ISO 13688 or EN 14126B and partial protection, we'll also be looking at these specifications. So these are the 12 lines of product, but when you go to the e-tendering platform, you see only 10 lines because we have combined the hand sanitizers and sodium hypochlorite. Then what we are also saying is that if you are a manufacturer, please, we are looking at ISO 13485 certificate or equivalent quality management system, which is issued by an accredited and notified body. And we are saying the name of the notified body should be mentioned in the certificate. Maybe you are not a manufacturer, you are just an agent, you are just a distributor. But please get these documents from your manufacturer because these documents will be required. For your products, you can also visit the WHO product for local production. For further guidance, you can visit the WHO guidelines. And we are also saying that Standard Association of Zimbabwe certification or equivalent is a must. So here we are looking certification or equivalent. Please note that we also consider the equivalent part of it. Then formulation of finished product must be available on the primary packaging. And your sample that you are going to provide should have that formulation for us to be able to determine suitability of your sample. We are saying the formulation of that product should be there on the label. And for local manufacturers or local suppliers, we are also saying, please be guided by the SI 92 of 2020, the public health, which is the standard for personal protective apparel, materials, and equipment regulation of 2020. This provides general guidance, and remember, for suppliers, you can actually be sued if you provide false information on your products because of this statutory instrument. So you you are highly recommended to please take note of this statutory instrument and make use of it. I've also attached, this is the copy of the statutory instrument for those who may need further guidance. In terms of other requirements, we are saying that delivery terms, we are using DAP, which is delivery at place. And where is the place of delivery? Ministry of Health and Child Care of National Pharmaceutical Company of Zimbabwe. So all deliveries will be done to NATFA. You can choose whatever you prefer, land or air. That is, if you are outside of Zimbabwe, you may consider air. Then if you are outside of Zimbabwe and you are delivering this, normally our preferred forwarder is UNWP, and we do our customs clearance, but not for the sample. This is for the finished product in case we have given you the order and you are outside of Zimbabwe. And please note that as UN, we are exempted from paying duty. So make sure that when you are quoting us, your price should not include any duties. Then in terms of payment terms, as UNDP, our policy is that we pay 100% within 30 days upon acceptance of your goods when you have delivered. So we pay you after you have delivered your goods. And when you have delivered, the condition of release of payment is inspection upon arrival at the destination, where you will look at conformity to the specifications and all other documents. Then we do what we call a written acceptance of goods based on full compliance with the ITB requirements. And what we are saying is that all documents, catalogs, instructions, or manuals that you'll be attaching to this ITB should all in English. No documents in Chinese, no documents in Portuguese, no documents in French or any other language. So please make sure that all the documents that you are submitting are written in English. I think I'll take a break and ask VM, I've seen you have raised your hands. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Yes, Preston, how are you?
I'm fine, and yourself?
I'm good. On the hand washing stations, you mentioned that you'd consider part codes, partial codes. Is it for buckets, for the stand, and the water containers? So I wanted to find out if we are quoting these 3 items separately, even in the e-tendering system. Are we breaking down our costs there?
In the e-tendering, you find out that they are considered as one item.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as a special provision, you can put some notes, because remember you are completing this schedule of documents. I'll show you when we go to the Form F. Let me go here. Let me scroll down to the Form F. Let me go to the price schedule. So you find out this is your price schedule, where you are putting as your hand washing station as a 1 unit. I think what you can do, you can even add, because this is an editable version, yes. You can add here, just beneath here, individual prices for each of the clarifications about the hand washing station, to say you can put individual prices, because is something that we thought of after we have already updated, after we have already uploaded, after one of the suppliers have raised a question to say they are into manufacturing of one of the product, can they quote for that one? So we thought it would be noble to allow such a situation. So I think what you can do on this one, you can also put a footnote where you can put individual prices. This will be my updated my updated document that I'll upload, so you can put individual prices here to say, okay, for buckets, your stands, and your water container, so that we need to allow anyone who is able, because you find out that one bidder may be a manufacturer of buckets and might be very cheap on those buckets. So we want to allow such suppliers also to be able to participate.
Okay, just to make sure that I heard you correctly there, even if I'm quoting for the whole station with the 3 items, I have to also indicate my prices individually.
Yes, that's true. Because what we are going to do is that even after, we are going actually to request for those possibly whom will have been shortlisted, in case they are not part of this pre-bid, we'll also go to them and ask them to provide individual prizes.
All right, for comparison purposes.
Yes, for comparison purposes.
All right, thank you.
So that we can actually even split this order to say, okay, we are giving you the purchase order for 1,275 buckets only, and we give the stands maybe directly to a welding company that does these frames, maybe at a lower cost than you. So at the end, we want to look at the best scenario where we are talking of the most economically advantage to the organization.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so you see that my updated bidding document, we have this highlighted. Okay, I can see some more questions. Leonard, you want to come in?
Yeah, I just want to maybe for the Preston.
Yes, sure. You can go ahead.
Yeah, for the benefit of for the benefit of the bidders on the on payment issues. Do you accept? Okay, I know you accept party delivery, and do you pay for party delivery, or you pay for the whole order when it has been supplied? They say for 55,000 bottles of hand sanitizer, I deliver 10,000. Then next week 10,000. Do you do part payment, or it's for the whole order?
Normally, we avoid that because of the administrative. Remember the administrative processes that is involved. In processing these payments. So we always try to avoid part payments. But what we can do is that, take for example, if one of the bidder maybe is awarded line 1 to line 7 in this tender, take as an example, and possibly he delivered maybe line 3 to line 6 completely. This is sanitizer. Then request for us to make a payment. We can consider that, because one thing that we always want to avoid is to make piecemeal payments on a purchase order because the administrative work is too much. So we will do on that on a case-to-case basis, but we'll always do like when one submits, say for example, chloride of lime you have delivered immediately and request payment. Sometimes we can look at that considering the amount is also justifiable. Then we can look at that. But we don't normally entertain piecemeal payments because of the administration. It means we are going to do the same process 5 times if we are to pay, if you are going to do part deliveries 5 times, which is cumbersome.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So I'll proceed. So we have added this in terms of, so please take note when I send my clarifications, I'll also add a note to say we have updated this section, and I'll immediately upload on our tendering notices the same updated version of the document. So this is the advantage of also of attending pre-bid meetings, because you get to know some of these changes earlier than anyone else. Before I proceed, Agjo, I've seen you have a question. Please go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
On part of UNDP part forwarding, UNWFP. So for bidders that are not in Zimbabwe, if the cargo arrives at the airport or at seaport, so UNWFP will handle it there, or how does that work?
Okay, normally what we do is that if you are awarded this order, we give you a purchase order, and you find out on the purchase order, we always put some notes to the supplier, which gives you specific instruction to say, okay, once your shipment is ready for shipping, before you ship, please let us know. Then you give us the commercial invoice, the packing list, as well as all the other related documents. Then we use these documents to get our duty-free certificate. Only after we have obtained the duty-free certificate, we will allow you to ship the documents. Once the cargo arrives at the airport, at the port of entry, for us is the port of entry. If it's coming by road from South Africa, at Bait Bridge, at Harare International Airport, or at Forbes border post, we take over the clearing. But remember, the delivery is still your responsibility. If it's coming by road, you are still delivering delivery at place. So you are still delivering to our place. But if it's coming by air, then it changes to CPT, which is carriage up to which is the international airport. From there onwards, the clearing, we take charge of the clearing and the internal transport.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. All right, let me proceed. So this is the, Leonard, is your hand up again? You want to add something?
No, sorry. I think I did not put it down.
Okay, that's fine, no problem. That's okay. So I'll continue. So this is your price schedule. So make sure that this price schedule is completed and attached. We mainly use this to compare your prices, because we have also seen that sometimes people overlook some of the things on the e-tendering system. So we always check your uploaded schedule to make sure that everything is up to standard. So make sure you complete this, you fill in your name, you set the tender reference as well as the date when you are completing it. So these are the forms that are normally required, the returnable bid forms. Under section 6, there's a checklist. Always make sure that you have submitted the bid submission form, the bidder information form. If you are going to be doing a joint venture or a consortium, there's a form that you also need to complete. Then the qualification form, then the technical bill, which is also the form E. Then if the bid security is required, there's a form that you also need to complete. But in this case, you are not going to complete this. So please disregard. You've also seen that we have removed the checkbox here to make sure that this is not required. So make sure that you have provided all the required documents to establish compliance with the evaluation criteria in section 4. So section 4 upwards, where we have already talked about, is also critical. Then your price schedule form is also critical to make sure that this form is completed and attached. So this is the bid submission form. I will not talk much about it. It's a self-explanatory form where you need to complete all the relevant section and also see where you need to insert the name of the bidder, and you also need to sign off. Whoever is representing the organization need to sign off this form. Then you also see that the bidder information, please, this information is also critical because it helps us to understand our bidders. Who are you as a bidder? So you also fill in this information. You also see that, are you UNGM registered vendor? You see that a UNGM registered vendor, let me explain this section. We have a website called www.ungm.org. If you look at this website, it's a website where potential bidders to the UN register. I would also want to encourage you as bidders to visit this website. Let me see if I can just make a detour and just show you, because it's also critical for you to understand how we do business as UN. You find out there's a website which we use, it's called UNGM. Let me try to show you. Okay. So this is a UNGM website, United Nations Global Marketplace. This is a website where all UN entities, if you want to do business with UN entities, go to this website. Then you use this and register as a bidder. When you register as a bidder, you pick all the, all the categories that you think you fit, and registration is for free. Once you are registered on this website, you'll be able to see notices from other UN entities. For example, I'm logging in here with my credentials. You see that once I'm registered here, I'll be able to see all other tenders from other countries by UNDP or by UNDP and other organizations. So this is a must go for every bidder where you want to look for business within the UN entities. And sometimes after you have uploaded all the documents, you see that some UN entities may then come back to you and say, can you give us this? Can you give us? It's also a platform that we use as UN to look for bidders or to look for vendors. I can do a vendor search here where I can go and look for vendors in any type of business. Like, for example, I can go here and say, okay, I need any vendors within this setup, and I can type whatever you do, then I can search for vendors, then I can contact you. So it's also a good platform for you to visit. So whenever you register here on this website, you get what we call a UNGM vendor number. So this is where we are also saying here, are you a UNGM registered vendor? So if you are registered, we have a UNGM number that you can insert. If you have done business with UNDP in any other years, you get what we call a vendor number. UNDP gives you a vendor number, and that vendor number will be shown on your purchase order. When you open your purchase order, take for example, let me just open a purchase order, then you can see if I open any purchase order, okay, you'll see that if I open any purchase order here, you see this is a vendor. So you'll see that wherever we have a vendor, there will be a number. Normally for this one, it's just GPU scan global. Let me just try to open another one where you can see just a moment. I'm trying to pick any purchase order from the system. Okay, I got one here. So you see that this is a purchase order. So if one have done business with UNDP, you always have this number. Like in this case, this is a vendor number. This is a UNDP vendor number. So whenever, if you have done business with UNDP in the past, just look at your purchase order. There'll be a number like this. It's your vendor number. So when you put this form, so when you complete this form, are you a UNDP vendor? You can say yes, then you insert the vendor number. Then you can put all the other details. You know, this is critical. Where you need, the form is straight. I'll not talk much about this, but it's straightforward, where you complete all the relevant sections. Let me just check, take a pause and check if there are any questions. Leonard, do you want to add something? Leonard, is your hand up? Okay, that's fine. I think we'll proceed. Let me just check. Do we have any questions? I don't think we have. So this is the document. So where we were talking about the joint venture, this is the joint venture form, and it tries to give as much details as possible in the event that some are participating as a joint venture. In terms of the eligibility and qualification form, please take note of all the required information where you need to complete history of non-performing contracts, litigation history, previous relevant experience. Please note, these only previous similar assignments successfully completed in the past 3 years. So this is where I was talking about seeing like a Rio de Oro or Masimba construction company participating in supplying of sanitizer. They don't have the relevant experience. So you find out we'll be looking at this quite strictly, and we need to make sure that we have awarded our tender to reputable companies that are in the business. So you need to give the projects, the name, country of assignment, client reference, and contact details, including numbers and emails. Then also state the contract value. In worst case scenarios, as UNDP, we may request a copy of the contract to verify the authenticity of your claims. So please make sure that all the information that you complete on this section can be traced and can be verified. Then the financial standing, this is where you need also to complete your financials. Your assets, this is your balance sheet. Please complete these sections. Then when it comes to the format of the technical bid, this is where you are indicating compliance to our specifications. Remember, we have said these are minimum standards, and you need to show that you comply. So if you don't comply, like for example, if here you don't comply, it means we are not going to look at your bid. And sometimes if you don't comply, put reason, then we can then look at the reason and see if they are genuinely acceptable to us to consider whatever you'll be offering. Then confirm that you comply and indicate your delivery date. Here we are saying, please indicate your possible earliest delivery date. Also indicate the quality certification. If it's SARS, indicated that SARS is SABS, then indicate that this is SABS quality certified, or it's another country, then you put the quality certification, then you put your comments here. So this also needs to be completed. Then you can also put this key personnel representing your organization. You need also to complete this section so that we know like your management structure. The price schedule, this is the most important. We've already talked about it. Let me take a break. I've seen we have some questions. Sakala, are you able to talk? It seems we are having challenges, but Sakala, if you can hear us, please type in your question, because I'm trying to allow you to talk, but unfortunately I'm getting an error message that you are using an older version of Zoom. Okay, let me try to move you to see if you can talk. Sakala, are you able to talk now? Okay, while we are trying to sort the Sakala issue, let me take Angjo. I've seen you. You have raised your hand. Okay, it seems possibly the hand was raised by mistake. So we can proceed. I think all is clear at this moment. So in terms of the bid security, we don't require the bid security. We don't require a bid security for this tender. So it's a free for all. Everyone is free to participate without any challenges or without any problems. Do we have any questions? Angjo, I can see your hand is raised. Please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. I wanted to ask, the total number of hand sanitizers is 100 mils for 55,000 and 500 mils for 55,000. Is that correct?
Can you come again?
I see on lot 3, 4, 5, and 6, specifically lot 3, 4, and 5, they're all hand sanitizers. So is it a total of 55,000, 55,000, 24,000, 2.400?
Yes, that's true. This is where I've said, if you look on the e-tendering online, you see that these lot 4 and lot 5 are more like combined, because you see a total of 79,000. It's because they are all 500 mils. So I combined them. Then these are 100 mils, but the lines are separated on your e-tendering platform. But here on your price schedule, you can put them as separate items, because I've already indicated them here. When I come here, I've already indicated them as separate lines. The reason why I indicated them as separate lines, there are two different requests from different requesters. Like, remember, we are buying this for partners under the Global Fund project. So some of the items are for Ministry of Health, some of the items are for the National AIDS Council. So you see that at some point I've splitted the lines, but on the e-tendering platform, I've combined. So don't worry about that.
Okay, understood.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
The guiding principle should be the unit of measurement, which is the your 100 mils here and your 100 mils, your 500 mils here. And on item 4, please take note that this should be the spray. I understand we have got different types of hand sanitizers on the market. Let me just take 2. I've got like 2 samples here. Let me just take them. Give me a moment. Just hold. I will take 2 samples and show you off. All right, let me do this. Right, you see that this is one type of a hand sanitizer that we have in the market. Then you also see that this is another type that we have in the market as well. All are sanitizers, but paying specific attention to our request, you see that one of the sanitizers should be a spray type, like lot 4. This is specifically should be a spray for lot 4. So please take note of that. Although lot 4, this one, they are all hand sanitizers. Lot 4 and lot 5, they are all 500 mils, but they are different in nature. The other one is just a generic, we'll see whatever you have, but the other one should be a spray type. So please take note of that.
Okay.
Yes. Any questions to that?
No, thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Yes, BM?
Hi, on the sanitizers, because you indicated that in the itinerary system for the 500 mils, you added the 55,000 and the 24,000. But since we have different packaging bottles, then the prices are going to be different. How then are we going to do it in the itinerary system? Because the packaging also plays a part in the price.
Yeah, I think what to consider here is this, you know, your price schedule. Remember, on your price schedule, you are putting them separately. So we'll split using this.
Then which price do I put in?
Here on the price schedule, put your prices separately. Like if lot 4, which is the spray type, and the ordinary one are different, then here your price schedule for the 55,000 is here. Then on the hand sanitizer, the ordinary one, it's here. But in the system, whichever price you put, it's fine. But what we know is that we consider we use this price schedule for the evaluation basis. Because whenever we do computation, remember when we do computation, we use this price schedule.
All right, no, it's okay.
All right. Any questions? I think we have covered the entire document. Maybe before I wind off this meeting, do we have any bidders currently in attendance? We have not registered on our system, like who are not yet registered on the UNDP system as a bidder. Maybe you can just show by raising your hand so that I can see. Okay, it seems we only have 2. So what I'll recommend you to do, there's a document called e-tendering user guide for bidders. This is our critical document as far as our e-tendering system is concerned. Let me just share it briefly. Okay, I'll not talk much about this document today because it's only 2 out of the 14 bidders in attendance who are not yet registered. But if you go through this document, it will show you a step by step. This is the introduction, how to submit your bids, managing your bid, register bidder profile, manage bidder profile, and all the other related support. It's a voluminous document, 85 pages, but I would encourage you to go through it. It will help you to understand the UNDP e-tendering system, and that will give you actually the best weapon for you to be able to using our e-tendering platform. You also see from the bidding documents some of the short videos that you can also make use of as far as the registration is concerned. Elevate, you can unmute yourself and talk.
Yes, maybe I joined the meeting a little bit late, but what I just wanted to ask, sorry for taking you back. I just wanted to ask, is it possible for us to just bid for one item, like for us, we are interested in lot number 11, which is the hand washing stations?
Yes, that is true. Actually, if you look at our documents, there is a section where you can also do bid by lots, where we can say we allow lot by lot basis. So it's okay, you can bid for what you are able to supply.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. So this is where I was with number 2, where it says submitting of bids for parts or subparts or schedule of the requirements. Here it said allowed bids will be on lot by lot basis. So we'll consider lot number 1 as separate from lot number 2 and as separate from lot number 3 and the rest. So we'll allow you to submit your bids on lot by lot basis.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so what I would ask you, maybe as we are winding up, what I would ask you is to provide your full name. Just a moment, full name, company represented, then contact email, and contact numbers. Contact number. So you can send this information on email. Maybe while this I'm typing, I'll ask Anjo, you seem to have a question. Can you come? Can you unmute yourself? Yes, sure.
On the price schedule form and schedule of requirements, when you are bidding for a particular lot, let's say lot 1 or lot 2, do you make any adjustment to the table, or you just fill in which lot you want to participate in?
You can just you can edit, or you can just leave the other items blank and just complete what you want to bid for.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions before we wind off? Elevate.
Yes, I just wanted to say I'm representing two companies. We run two companies, which is Elevate and New Gold. So on these emails, will I submit both?
You can just submit one.
Oh, okay.
It depends. Do you want to be, are the two companies bidding?
We want to bid, yes. The other one is going to bid for sanitizers, and the other one, Elevate, we do the supplies of the hand washing sanitizer. Hand washing stations.
Okay, so in that case, you in the same email, you just indicate that you are representing two companies, then you indicate, because what we now want is the full name, the company represented, then the contact email and contact number. Then you can send this. I've put this on the chat box. Are we able to see it? Are we able to access the chat box, all of us, to see? You can send this to the email, which is preston.wena@undp.org. Then put the pre-bid meeting attendance as the subject
Okay.
of the email. Yeah, I'm sure everyone is able to see. Edge, did you manage to see the email address? I've seen you are requesting for the email address. It's also there in the ITB document.
Okay.
Do we have any further questions?
Hi, Preston.
Yes, sure.
We cannot see what you typed into the chat box.
You can see it, but others are seeing it.
Because in my chat box, I'm actually seeing someone else requested for your email address. We can't see what you typed in.
Oh, but others are able to see. So
Go up. D is
okay. Let me see. Let me try to resend. Then
There's a different chat box where we're not seeing ourselves.
Are you using the one? Because if you are using the one which is chat, you should be able to see.
Ours
Okay,
says
okay.
Zoom webinar chat.
Okay, no problem. I've seen where the problem is. It was just going to the panelists. Right, check now.
Yeah,
Can you see it?
Yes, we've seen it now.
Now it's there. Okay. Yeah, I think I'd used the panelist only to the panelist. So now I think we have all the information. Let me just check if there's any other question. Okay. It seems we don't have any other questions. All right, so I think I'll have the privilege to close the meeting at 12:30 if there are no further questions. If there are no any further questions, maybe you can try to unmute yourself. Just maybe I'm trying to capture the screen for my minutes. Maybe you can try to unmute yourself and also switch on your video if you have, just for as a screenshot for my minutes. All right, that's okay. So I think our meeting is ending now, and just wishing you all the best in your tender submissions. Have a good day.